A romantic comedy about OCD. Let's talk about Heightened. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past. I'm here to talk to you about Heightened, which came to digital and on demand on October 1st, 2024. It is a new indie romantic comedy written, directed, and starring Sara Friedman. It involves a character with social anxiety and OCD as she tries to just navigate life. My hot take is, I think you should watch it, watch later. I was kind of between watch now and watch later. I liked this a lot more than I expected to. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I thought it was just kind of like an overall cute kind of like coming of age comedy about overcoming your fears and anxieties and moving forward with your life. I like the humor. I like the cast. I thought it was just like a fun, well done indie comedy. So probably on balance, it's a watch it. There was a few things I didn't really love as much about it, but overall, I really enjoyed this. So I'm going to tell you about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So, in Heightened, you have Nora, who has a mental breakdown during a big test and after is required to go to court-ordered therapy and volunteer work. And while she's there, she has to confront some of her OCD tendencies and her anxieties in order to pass this treatment, but also maybe find something that she likes about life. So, things I liked about this movie. The first, I like the humor. I thought it was funny. The humor kind of spoke to me. It's kind of dry, sarcastic. Nora is a very difficult character, and she has lots of very biting comments, which I enjoyed. I kind of enjoyed that kind of humor. So, look, the humor spoke to me. It might not speak to you, but I really enjoyed it. I was kind of chuckling a lot. It wasn't like crazy funny, but I thought it was clever. So I definitely enjoyed that. Second thing I love the cast. I liked the two main characters. I liked Sara Friedman as Nora and Dave Register as Dusty. I thought they were fun together. I thought they were cute, and they kind of made a nice pair. Their chemistry was nice. Their growth together was nice. And you know what? That's really good for a romantic comedy. The third thing I love the music. It has kind of like a lovely light musical style, which is good for an indie comedy. It's good for like a romantic comedy. It definitely doesn't take itself too seriously, which is good. It doesn't delve too much into like serious subjects, even though it deals with some serious subjects. Like the tone is always fairly light, and the music helps with that. And the last thing I love the style. It has like a quirky kind of like almost like Wes Anderson like vibe. Not Wes Anderson. It's not there, but it has a similar feel. It has some bright colors. It has some like strange situations. It has characters that are kind of like a little on extreme ends at times. So I definitely liked the style. It was definitely something that stuck out to me at the start and made me enjoy it. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much. The first and probably the only thing, I'll call it the growth. This is more just because I'm not sure, right? So it was good to see the characters grow. Sometimes it seemed like they grew a little bit quickly. I don't know how that progress normally works. I have some OCD tendencies, but none like Nora's. I have some social anxiety, but none like Nora. So I don't know how overcoming that would look. It felt like it was intense at the start and then kind of like fell away later on. There were reasons in the movie for why, but they felt a little bit too convenient, a little bit too quick. So this is more just I don't know how difficult this is to overcome. So I wasn't sure if it was realistic or just very convenient for the story. Both are fine, but it felt like kind of the social anxieties fell away fairly quickly. So all that being said, Heightened is already out. It's out on digital and on demand on October 1st, 2024. I think you should check it out. I think it was enjoyable. I liked it. The humor spoke to me. I liked the characters. I thought it was just kind of like a fun, quirky indie film. So if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So Nora has OCD tendencies and has social anxiety. She is trying to succeed, trying to live up to like what her parents want, but doesn't always hit there. Right now, she is done with law school. We don't know which law school she went to, but she went to apparently some Ivy League law school and is sitting for the bar exam. And while she's there, some of her OCD tendencies happen. She can't handle like the crunching of like someone eating. She can't handle like the erasers, the pencils, all that gets into her head. I don't know why she doesn't have earplugs. Like earplugs are cheap. Get them, put them in your ears. I've taken lots of big tests. I usually always bring earplugs because I don't like sound either. I want to just focus and be in my head. And so she should just get earplugs. It would have fixed all of this. She would have had no problems whatsoever. She doesn't. And so she decides she can't handle all this. I think probably her fear of failure is also at play here. So she gets up and pulls the fire alarm. Never a good idea. She was going to quit. Just quit. She doesn't have to pull a fire alarm. But she did that. That causes issues for her. And so we don't see this, but apparently she went before the judge, a judge for, it's a crime to pull a fire alarm if there's no emergency. And the judge went easy on her because it was one of her dad's like law school friends. And so she had to go back home to live with her parents. She had to go to therapy and she had to like do some community service as part of her therapy. She had to complete a therapy course. And so now she is moving back in with her parents, going to this therapy and going kind of to the place where a lot of her social anxiety seemed to have started. Now, she goes to a support group, she goes to like individual therapy with a therapist, and eventually she has to do some community service as part of this program. And so she goes to work for a park. And there she meets Dusty, who is her supervisor. He works there. He seems to be a nice guy. He has his own issues that we find out later. He's kind of like picked on by the other people, even though Dusty seems cool. Like, I mean, he has issues. He's kind of a rule follower. He's kind of a narc. So that could probably be why, but I don't know. He's fit. He seems fun. He's attractive. I don't know why he gets picked on, but he does. And so he supervises Nora and they start to become friends. I mean, Dusty seems like more understanding of some of Nora's OCD tendencies and anxieties. He seems to like, be nice to her. One of the few people that is like actually nice to her. And so they become friends. And eventually at one point, Nora has to like walk home because her mom had other things to do. And so she couldn't pick her up. And so Dusty gives her a ride home. It's very sweet. Dusty meets her mom. He's very sweet. And so they become pretty quick friends. So after Nora and Dusty become friends, we find out more about Dusty. Dusty and the boss of this park, the person that's kind of mean to both Nora and Dusty, is this person named Mitch. He is stepbrothers with Dusty. Their parents were married. I guess there aren't anymore, but they didn't get along well because Mitch is kind of a jerk and Dusty is a rule follower, so he would always tattle on Mitch when they were growing up. This caused some hard feelings between them, as you'd imagine. It culminated in high school when Mitch apparently was drinking. Dusty told their mom that he was drinking, and she, I guess, pulled him from the football team because of this. Seems a little extreme. High school kids shouldn't drink, but if you are drinking, probably an easier way to fix it than pulling him from the football team. He's mad at Dusty because then this caused him to not get a scholarship. I guess it caused him to maybe not go to college. I'm not 100% sure if he went to college, but this changed the trajectory of his life. So he's been mad at Dusty ever since. Also, Dusty is sad and kind of picked on by the other people because he is not a full-on park ranger. I guess you have to pass a law enforcement exam to become a true ranger, a real ranger, get a badge. He is, I don't know, like a trail volunteer or like a trainee, I guess, at this point. He's tried 3 times, hasn't been able to pass. He always gets anxiety when he sits down to try to take the test. And so, when he's explaining this to Nora, one thing that was a little frustrating is like Dusty was kind of mean to her. He insulted her. He like talked about like her craziness, and like you're like, dude, Dusty, you've got similar issues, which is one thing that we find out like throughout, and one thing that Nora points out later. But he is pretty mean to Nora. I feel like Nora should have just been like, screw you, I'm out. She's very nice to him. She offers to help him to study, and they start hanging out a lot more. Now, Nora helps him to study. She helps him deal with his anxiety and things that are going on. And eventually, Dusty starts to get better. One of the things that helps him apparently is drinking. So I guess one of the kind of lessons of this movie is like drinking solves problems, I guess. I mean, like it helped Nora deal with her anxiety, helps Dusty deal with his anxiety. Alcohol is the answer, maybe. Anyways, later, Nora is at a family party with her parents' friends, and one of them is being creepy. Apparently, he's been creepy to Nora ever since she turned 18, and Nora is kind of done with all of this. So she makes a scene, she tells her family friends off, and then leaves. She goes to see Dusty, and Dusty is trying to study, but he has intense anxiety. So she convinces him to drink to get over his anxiety. They drink, he feels better about it, she feels better apparently when she's drinking. Lesson: drinking solves all problems. There we go. They then decide, because they're both drunk, to go swimming. And they don't actually go swimming, but they get there, they get close, and then they make out. And as they are making out, Dusty quickly recoils. He says, "Ah, no." And she's like, What's wrong? What's wrong?" And Dusty's like, "It's wrong. I'm your supervisor." And again, Dusty, like, you gotta figure this out, man. Like, this is not like a power imbalance here. Anyways, she gets mad at him for being all about the rules, and Dusty kind of like ruins the moment, and so she storms off. Now, Nora comes back to her family house, and her father's drinking. So they drink a little bit more, and her father and her talk a little bit. They talk about her mom, and we find out a lot that like her mom has a lot of the similar things that Nora has. We earlier she mentioned something about orange, which is one thing that Nora hates. She has different kind of OCD and anxiety issues, but her mom has learned to deal with it and Nora hasn't. And that is one of the things that comes up a little bit later. Now, eventually, Nora gets a call from her therapist, and we find out that someone from the park called and said that she was late, she was drinking, she had inappropriate relations with her supervisor, and that means that she has to stay in the program for longer. Nora gets very angry at this because she wants to be done with the program. And when Dusty tries calling her, she snaps at him. Now, Laura then says she doesn't want to work with Dusty. She starts working for the jerk supervisor, Mitch. And also she has a fight with her mom. And her mom kind of gives her some tough love. She's like, look, I got the same things you do. I just deal with it. You don't. So Nora is starting to kind of like get some tough love from a lot of different angles. Now, eventually we find Dusty. He's pretty sad that Nora has kind of like, you know, cut him off. And he's talking to this cop that we've seen a couple times. We find out that this cop is his mom. And she asks about this girl. And he says, I don't know, I liked her, but she might be some trouble. And his mom is like, a little trouble might be good for you. And he was surprised because his mom is a cop. He is a rule follower. He wouldn't think his mom would say that, and especially a cop would say that. But it's true. Dusty, you gotta lighten up. Now, Dusty then eventually sits for his test, and when he's sitting down, he's anxious, he's nervous, but when he sits down, he opens the pocket of his bag and finds a note that Nora put there a long time ago. Apparently, Dusty doesn't actually study very much because this note had been in his bag for like weeks. He never noticed it, but it's the perfect time because when he pulls it out, it says, I believe in you. Super sweet. It calms Dusty down, and he sits and does apparently well on his test. He's confident he passed it, so he goes to find Nora to thank her. He finds her on the beach cleaning up, and she's being supervised by his stepbrother, Mitch. He goes up to her, he kisses her, and she gets mad at him because he narked on her. Or did he? We find out that Dusty actually didn't do this. It was his brother, Mitch. His brother, Mitch, was mad at him for narking on him when he was in high school and losing his football scholarship. So to get back at him, Mitch narked on Dusty's girlfriend to cause an issue there. Kind of sucks. Mitch kind of sucks, but this helps Nora forgive Dusty, and they both quit. Now, later, it seems like they seem to be a couple. Dusty drives her home, they kiss, they talk about seeing each other tomorrow, so it seems like everything is turning out well. Also, Nora's dad sits the family down and says, like, we all have issues, we should all go to therapy. So everything is kind of working out. Now, we fast forward a little bit, and we see Dusty at the park with a badge. It turns out he passes law enforcement exam. He is now a full park ranger. Yay, Dusty. And it seems like Nora is there to show him a letter that she received. It is a letter from the University of Maine School of Social Work. She is going to do a different master's. She's going to change course in her life. She had always kind of like, want to do a law school because her dad was a lawyer. I don't know. You go through law school. She probably should have at least tried to pass the bar, maybe taken the bar, see if she passed it before she pivoted. I mean, she spent all those years in there. You might as well get a bar license. I don't know. Anyways, she doesn't. She's going to go back to school, do social work, find something that she enjoys. Good for her, but that's a lot of wasted time, Nora. You should take the bar at least. And after she shows this to Dusty, they celebrate by jumping off a pier, which is something that Dusty's afraid of. Dusty seems to have more anxiety than Nora at this point. Nora seems to be kind of like calm and okay with it. And she explained that she got over her anxieties because she was with Dusty and she likes doing things for him, liked doing things with him, and that kind of helped her overcome her anxieties. Hopefully, Dusty will do the same because he now seems to be a little bit more anxious than she will. But they get ready for the pier, they jump off. Seems like they are going to be fine. And that is Heightened. Like I said, I liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I thought it was like quirky indie comedy. So definitely check it out. And if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.